insane sculpt and another revisit of something that I've had on the show before. This is the Giantyrant. I had him on the Christmas episode as well. I saw this guy at DesignerCon. I wasn't able to get him. You know the whole spiel if you saw the Christmas episode. But I digress. So what I did a lot of customization with this guy. When I brought him on, he was just blank yellow, and I had given him some arms. Well, I actually look at him down here so you can get a better look at him. I put these arms on there. This was a custom modification, if you will. I cut out dremeled small holes into the body here, and I had these other sofubi arms from a Grody Shogun sofubi, and I thought that it just fit really well. I wanted to do something a little bit weirder and different with what I was going to do. I gotta stand out from the crowd, even when I'm in a niche group already, I guess. I don't know, it's just a weird, stupid thing I have to do, I guess. Anyway, so I just really wanted to, go the extra mile with this guy. I haven't done, like, heavy modifications to sofubi in a long time. I used to do, like, all kinds of crazy stuff, and now looking back in retrospect, I went overboard as hell on stuff. So, I stopped doing that for a while, and now I'm just trying to do, like, simple modifications, things that can improve the sculpt, or in my eyes at least. I'm not, not taking away from this amazing sculpt by itself. I'm rambling, so we're just going to go into what I did. So when I started out with this guy, I did basic sprays, kind of like what you saw on my personal. This guy was yellow, so I did like the pink and blue balances on there. So you can always see like what I was talking about with the God's Mistake sofubi. It was looking kind of similar, so I was like, well, I don't want to lean on that too much. So what I did was I kind of minimalized the sprays, and then I went over it afterwards. After I sealed it and everything, I went over it with red wash again. And so all of these like little holes and little divots and grooves and every little intricate detail of this sculpt is now brought out because of doing a little wash over it. So there's subtle differences between a dry rub or a wash, and it's just about technique. So a wash is like more thinned out, liquidy paint, and it kind of just streaks and smears, so it gives kind of like a dirty-ish look. And then they're like a more organically dirty, I guess you could say. Like when you're weathering props or something like that, that's kind of what you do. And then a dry rub is where you kind of like, at least to my understanding, I'm doing all this stuff by myself. So you kind of coat it in one color, and then you kind of like wash it or rub it off after there, and then so it'll all like stick in the same spots. For a wash, at least when I'm doing it, I'll kind of like leave everything on, and I'll dab. I usually have a sponge or a paper towel or a shop rag. Shop rags, I find, leave fibers in the paint, and then once you seal it, you'll see little hairs and shit sticking in your toy, and you're like, God damn it. So yeah, for this guy, I actually just finished him last night. I was like, I gotta get this guy on the show. So I did some pink and blue on the arms here because I wanted it to like kind of have like a weird contrast to the body. And I did a red wash on there, and I really like how the red wash goes over the blue. The way it looks is really pleasing to my eye for some reason. And I did the same thing. What I did was I did pink for all the wounds and cuts and stuff, and then I did red wash over that, and then after that I hand brush detailed all the black stitches on this guy. I did pupils. I rarely do pupils on stuff because I feel like my hand shakes too much when I'm trying to paint tiny things like that. But I did it, and it looks pretty decent, so I'm happy with that. And as for the teeth, I did like a weird, teeth are a funny thing. You never want to do it white, so you want to get it kind of like a weird tan, whitish, washed out tan color. And then after that, I did like brown umber washes over the teeth to give it that, like, this guy don't brush his teeth. Do you think he can't even reach to brush his own teeth. So it's gonna look nasty. So you gotta get the grime and dirt and disgusting whatever the hell this guy eats in his teeth. And then we'll take a look at the back. I did the same thing for the brain. I actually did like a purple-ish wash, dry rub, dry rub on this guy's brain, and then I went over with red and pinks and stuff like that. And yeah, and I really went into that back tit detail. Look at that back tit. And then underneath, you know, he's got like all this stuff. So yeah, I'm really proud of this guy. I really like how he turned out. Very happy with it. Again, another one for my personal collection. But yeah, very cool. I'm very happy to have this guy. And we'll move on. And so what do we got next? All right. So another one I'm personally very happy with. This is MadMonk1869. You can follow them on Instagram. Oh, I should have said before as well. Man, I'm such a space case today. Follow Snatch Punch for the last guy. If you ever want to try and find a Giantyrant or anything, you want one of your own, catch up on the future releases or something, go follow Snatch Punch. As for this guy, you follow MadMonk1869 to get any future releases. This guy is pumping these figures out. There has been at least a couple different releases since then of this guy. Since I got the yellow one, I think there's been like 2 or 3 releases. I know there's like a red and black one, and then there was a glow-in-the-dark one, and now I think he's teasing a clear one. So this guy's really wreaking havoc on my wallet right now because I want to get all of them, because this sculpt is just awesome. This is like one of the sculpts of this year. I mean, it's very early in the year, but I really like this guy. I think he came out last year, like very late last year, but I really like this sculpt a lot. Very cool. You know, it's got that like the holes everywhere. You know, it's like Ooze-It reminiscent, but obviously because it has the moon aesthetic, you gotta have craters on the moon. So I talked about this guy on the Christmas episode, or the vinyl variations after that, I believe, and he was all yellow. I've been getting a lot of yellow blanks lately, but I decided to do. This was like the guy that I tried it out on all my new wash paints. So I got a whole giant set of washes, and I was like, well, let's do a dry rub and wash on this guy and see how it turns out. So I did a dry rub on him, and I was very like, oh no, I messed this whole thing up. I screwed it all up. What are we gonna do? And so he kind of sat on my shelf for like a couple days, and then I was like, you know what? No, this guy's amazing, and I can't mess this up. So I went back and so if you ever try to do something like this and it just isn't how you want it, I have a spray bottle full of rubbing alcohol. You know, something that you'd have around your house anyway, and I fill up a little squirt bottle with it, and I squirt him down a little bit, and then I just dab with a shop rag or you know, whatever you use, and I wipe him down a little bit. And so that way, you know, it isn't as intense as you know, so you can always go very hard on the paint, and then you can always take away from there. So that's kind of that's kind of my general rule of thumb when I do this sort of thing. I lay it on pretty thick, and I dab it off, and if it's still too much from there, like it was too much on the belly, and because it's like a focal point of the figure, you know, so you kind of want there to be a little bit more open, a little bit more yellow and stuff. So I spritz it down, and then I kind of like dab it off, and then that way the black still remains in all the craters and his belly button and all the folds and stuff like that. But it isn't too much on there. Also, it helps to piece out, like you take him apart a little bit. Like I took his head off and I took one of the legs off just to make it easier on me. So when I'm like looking at it by itself, you're like, okay, this isn't too much, you know, so I can use it. So I did the washes. What I first did was I did the pinks and like the kind of detail on there, and then I did the wash after. So generally I would do the washes and stuff first because you'd want the color to kind of like stick out. But I wanted it to be more muddy, like on the eye, around the eye and stuff. And then it did muddy up the pink here, so then I just went over it again. That's really all you got to do. You know, a little white in there or something like that. Just a little bit. You don't want it to be too noticeable. And then I put some pink on the back there. I just wanted to go simple with this guy. I didn't want to go like over the top with him because this sculpt is really good, and so I just wanted to. And it's pretty simple, you know. So I just wanted to go over it, and I went over with his staff here with the to the moon, a little moon head on there. But yeah, very cool. You can follow MadMonk1869 to maybe get your own version of Madmoon at some point in time. I should probably bring this up as well. I do commissions, so if you ever get something that you say on the off chance you actually do like the way I paint things, just hit me up on Instagram. I do commissions, so maybe you could have a VideoVomit original in your collection or something. So now we're